Push here. Good to go. Good evening, good evening, good evening. By our reckoning, it is 8:07. We're a little bit late. I am Ian. This is not my lovely wife, Rachel. This is, however...
Noah, how's it going?
All right. And with Big Noah in the house, that means it's time for another installment of Basketball Diaries. So tonight, it's Ian, Big Noah. This is Real Talk, Basketball Diaries. We are of Big Family Life in the Simpson family home and 4Fs with the Simpson family. 4Fs representing faith, family, food, and fitness. Faith because we believe we can do all things through him who loves us. Family because aside from God, there's nothing more important in this world. Food because food is medicine. And fitness because we believe that overall wellness and balance can be achieved by pursuing and maintaining a strong mind, soul, and body. Hence, we're just out here using the 4F system to manifest our best life. What's up, Sauce? How you doing? Thanks for stopping in. We about to get it on. I just had to go through my intros and do my thing. Once again, if you out here, you see what we're doing, you like what we're doing, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, help us to bring our message to more people. That's what you can do to help support us. We appreciate you. So, Basketball Diaries. Big Noah's back in the cut on the mic.
What's up, Sauce? What's going on, bro?
Of course,
What's
Eric
up,
is
Eric?
in the house. Eric, welcome. God bless. We appreciate the love and support. So what's on your mind, Big Noah? Where did we last leave off? Where did we leave off last time on the Basketball Diaries? With you, the last time we had you in here, it was still called Love and Basketball.
Yeah.
So where did we leave off? Where were you on your journey? You were, doing the Team Toba thing. Oh, and we were talking about you had... I'm looking forward to today's lesson. Hey, so I appreciate you, Sauce. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where the Spirit takes us. I don't know if there's you know what? There's always, and here's the thing: life is gonna throw adversity your way, right, young people? Life is gonna be adverse at from time to time, and that's not a bad thing. That's not hardship. Is not a bad thing. Hardship helps to forge your character, and you get to. Appreciate you, Pam. I like to, from when he was a kid, his best friend, one of his best friends, Sean, would remember when I say this, right? Because, he remembered that kid, man, he's grown up to be, a pretty good young man as well. However, that kid from Jump, there was something about that kid that, and it's good to know that I was right. However, it's like, you have those moments that I like to call character-defining moments when you get an opportunity to decide what kind of man, what kind of person you want to be, especially as an athlete, right? You have, when you face adversity, those are those character-defining moments when you get an opportunity to decide what kind of person you want to be. You get to find out what kind of stuff you have inside of you. Do you have it inside of you to when the going gets tough, when life gets hard, to just put your head down and just put one foot in front of the other and keep grinding? Because that's what it takes sometimes, because life is hard. Life can be hard, so you got to know that you have that within yourself. And when adverse times comes, and when you sometimes God is going to send a lesson your way, right? If you're going down a path, He's going to give you a choice. He's always going to give you options, right? And He's going to send a lesson your way, and that lesson sometimes might hurt, as lessons often are wont to do. The idea, though, is to find the blessing in the lesson, and I would say that's probably a good start for the lesson for today. Big Noah, the last time we were out here, we were talking about you were injured and went out for your tryouts for Team Toba, and then you made the team. You didn't tell them that you were injured and you made the team, but then you were out for the first month because of injury. Right? That's if I remember correctly, that's where we were at in the last discussion. And I really, I'm talk for a second. I really, saucy, exactly. That's exactly where we were at. And I'm gonna talk for a minute the importance of coaching and mentorship. Right, I'm going to talk for a minute on the importance of coaching and mentorship, because as a life coach, I no longer consider myself a basketball, football coach, any kind of specific sports coach. Here comes my lovely wife. I love you, baby. As a life coach, I think that, I told this to Sean one time, and he remembered. He took this. He remembered. I told him, I said, basketball is just my platform, because I believe that this can teach you anything that you need to know about life. You can take these principles and concepts and you plug them into any hard work, commitment, accountability. You take that and you plug that into any area of your life. How you doing, Marcus? God bless you. Thanks for stopping in. You take that, you plug that into any area of your life, and you're gonna have success, right? So that basketball was just my platform that I used to impart those life lessons. And I think that the importance of good coaching and good proper mentorship, especially when you're dealing with young athletes, is so imperative. It has to be a two-way, mutually beneficial relationship. It can't just be beneficial for the coach, because sometimes as a mentor and or a coach, you have to save an athlete from themselves. And I will reference a great athlete in the look at RG3. Those of you that are old enough, I think Sauce and Eric, you're both old enough to remember RG3. Marcus maybe a little bit young. However, this guy was a phenomenal athlete, and I mean, he stayed in that game longer than he necessarily should have, and Shanahan brought him back early, and that was a situation where a coach should have said to the young athlete, no, I'm thinking about your future. This is your first year in the league. You got lots of games left in you. I know this is a playoff game, but you're going to make it back here again, and you need to sit your ass down to prevent further injury. And he allowed the emotion of the moment to get in the way, and RG played. And he further aggravated his injury, and he was never the same. And a few years later, he was out the league. And this is the number two or one or two draft pick. I mean, the guy was fire. He was a surefire hit. I mean, coming out of college, and he would have been, except he had a short-lived career because his coach didn't save him from himself. And I say all that to say this: you had poor mentorship at the time. Simply because that coach and mentor that you were playing with at the time should have saved you from yourself. Said, no, you've got basketball tryouts coming up. Our little North Star team is really not all that important. You've got provincial tryouts, so our club game is not all that important. You should sit out.
Well, that's not where I injured it though.
However, you did miss, when you were at U of W. That's not where you injured it. However, as a mentor, he should have been telling you as well, hey man, these pickup games that you're playing at the Y and so on and so forth, either eliminate them or tone them down, cut them back. Because you're on a different path now. You're on a different trajectory. And the truth of the matter was that why did you miss that playoff game at the Bison? Why? Excuse me, you as Westman. You were there, I guess, but strictly speaking, you were there. However, you were not available to play. You had a busted ankle. Why?
Yeah, because I had injured my ankle.
Doing what?
Playing for my club team.
Playing for who?
North Star.
Which is a club team. So this is, again, the importance of good coaching and proper mentorship. This was a community team. Like the community center, in your local community center, it was that team. And the coach didn't think that he didn't have enough respect for the university coach to hold the university coach's athlete out of a meaningless game. And the university athlete got injured. And even though the university athlete wasn't getting any playing time anyways as a coach.
Yeah, that's why I was playing with my club team.
Yeah, because you weren't getting the playing time. Yeah. And so as an athlete, you just want to play. I get that. As a coach, it's my responsibility to save you for yourself. Now, I got you out here playing a meaningless game at the club level, and you get injured, you crack your ankle, and now you're not available for your playoff game at the university level. That's poor coaching. That is not a mutually beneficial coaching relationship. That is not a coach looking out for the best interests of their athletes. That is the story of a black athlete in Manitoba and Winnipeg. Yeah, I said it. Go.
Yeah, so what had happened was, I guess I was mid-season in the university league and I wasn't playing at all, so I decided I would go play for my club team still. And then, I was just practicing, and I came down on someone's foot.
Out of practice, no less.
Yeah.
Not even in a game.
And sprained my ankle. And so I was injured for a little bit with my university team.
So whatever opportunity you would have had to earn some playing time. And I mean, as a coach in that situation, if I'm the university team, if I'm the university coach, dog, I might have kicked you off the team. I might have pulled your scholarship. Real talk.
I didn't have a scholarship.
Okay, my bad. You didn't have at that time, yeah. Because worse, you're not even on scholarship. You're a walk-on. Yeah, I mean, I don't need you because you're not committed. That's not hate. That's not me being hard. That's me being real. I mean, if you want it, I mean, it's not enough to say that I want it. You got to act like you want it. You got to put in the work. You got to act like you want it. Like you got to breathe like you want it. You got it. You see, the thing is for me is that, please understand, I was never as talented as any of my children. Not on my best day. Not on my best day. Right? Even Nathan, who of the three is the least proficient in sport, however, the most athletic out of all of us, he just he's not in, whatever, different story. Whatever. His mother got to him and got in his head, and he ain't been right since. That's what it is. Real talk. And even him, of the three boys, he's the smallest. Noah's 6'8", Jordan's 6'6", Nathan is only 5'8". He's the smallest. But believe me when I tell you that I can critically assess the ability of my children, he's the most athletic. His ability to come out of a back pedal, his lateral movement, he should have been a DB. His lateral, his left and right quicks, it just athletic, just quick, just athletic ability, just, and feet, and just intelligence. And I mean, frick, that kid had it all. His mom got inside his head. Right? So, you know, he's the smallest, but I mean, I was never at my best. Not even close. I'm 5'11". He's 6'8", 6'6". Nathan, even at 5'8", was out jumping me at my best. And the thing though is that what I had that they don't, and I love my boys, man, and it hurts me that they don't have this. And it's because I believe it's because they were so good, they are so good that they don't have this. It's because that things just kind of came easy for them because they're so talented and they're so athletic and so blessed and gifted naturally and physically. They don't got that dog in them. You know? No disrespect, son. I love you. You're better than I ever was and ever could be. You passed me long time ago. Long time ago you passed me. Having said that, it's that dog, man. It's that get after itness. That idea that no matter what, I might die, but I ain't gonna quit. I'm gonna fight you. I don't care who you are, I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight you. And the thing is, it's not really his fault because he was never the underdog. He was always the big dog. He was never the underdog. He was never that little chihuahua. Baby. He was always the big dog sitting on the porch going, ooh, ooh, bring me that bone. Bring me. That's the knock on the Canadian NBA players. Expand.
He's saying that they don't have that dog.
Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna say it.
They're soft.
He said it. He said it. I wasn't gonna say it. He said it. I wasn't gonna say it. And I don't have an issue with a guy being humble. I love humility in athletes. I do. Right? I love humility. I love humility in athletes, right? I don't want you to be, I'm gonna eat your food. No, be humble. I love that. But it's that, when you're okay, like as an athlete in school, when I played against guys, I played against like Warren. I saw him on Facebook the other day. God bless him. He's 6'4". Like John from NBCI, he was 6'6". You know what I mean? And this is in grade in high school, grade 10. He's 6'6". He's a legitimate 6'6". At that time, I'm about 5'8". At best, I'm 5'10". At best. Right? So it's an obvious mismatch. So when I say that dog, yeah, he's a beast. Yeah, he's a beast. Look at him. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that being the underdog and you that little guy, you remember when Van Gundy tried to break up that fight between Zoe and who was Zoe fighting? Zoe was fighting. It was the Knicks and Miami Heat, I think, and Zoe was swinging on somebody, and Van Gundy was holding on to Zoe's leg, and Zoe was ragdolling him, and it was so funny. It was the playoffs too. I'm an old head, so that stuff pop in my head. What I mean is when you the underdog, man, and you got it, when you 5'8" and you going up against a guy that's 6'6", you gotta have some dog in you. Because if you don't, you're gonna just quit. You're just gonna be out there and you be just like going through the motions. You know? But if you got that dog in you, you believe that you can win that fight. And so you go out there and you just grind and you fight, man. Like you fight. Like athletes now it's a different world. It's a different world. I mean, we have so many athletes nowadays. We're so emotional. And emotion is not a bad thing. It's just a different kind of emotion. I was coaching a football game. You remember the rods there, and the QB was just getting beat up, man. Our QB was just getting, and I felt bad for him because he was getting beat up, man. And he come off the field and on the sidelines, Zoe and Oakley. Word, I knew you had me. Appreciate you. And Van Gundy just getting ragdolled, and he's holding on to Zoe's leg for dear life. It was just hilarious. And so the QB come off the field, and I'm gonna give him the rah, the old, man, hang in there, man. I know we gonna work for you. And he look at me and he was like, Coach. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, they're not blocking. I'm like, who? What's wrong? He's like, I'm like, dog, are you crying? And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was a different person back then. And, there's a time and a place for everything. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with crying as a man. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I would humbly suggest that a football field is not the place. I would humbly suggest that a football field is not the place to have an emotional meltdown. And so I handled the situation poorly. Excuse me, Marcus, go.
Yeah, you said China's a great example of someone who has that dog in them.
Exactly. It's not a knock against anybody. It's just the idea that I'm undersized, I'm smaller. These guys are all bigger. They're not faster. They may be stronger. They're whatever. They're not better looking. But I'm not going to lie down. I'm not going to lie down.
I just wanted to expand on what Eric had said, that that's the difference between the Canadian, that's what they call Canadian players or whatever.
They used to call European players soft.
Yeah,
go into that.
I just wanted to say now, it's not exactly the players' fault exactly, because just the
style of basketball.
the whole style of basketball and the systems that they have here in the States compared to here in Canada. Mm-hmm. Like here in Canada, high school basketball is a joke, whatever. They don't really they don't take it seriously,
It's true.
But in the States, high school basketball, that's religion, like you said. That's no joke. Like they take that like they're already pros because they're training them to become pros here, right? Here they don't really care about that. It's kind of like even like the AAU in the States, we don't have nothing that's like that here. Like nothing even comes close because just the intensity that they coach at and they play at.
Yeah,
it's completely different. Eric, you've watched a lot of basketball in Winnipeg. If you would see a game in the States, like it's completely different. Like
I think it's the mentality because I think that is the fault of the nepotistic system that we operate in, because you have all of these non-sports minded people that are in positions of power, and all they're out there doing is trying to level the playing field for their no talent children. I said it.
Yeah, literally
Yeah, I said it. This is my lived life experience. As a parent, I was an angry black man for 45 years, and I had great reason and cause to be angry because I saw this world treating my children the same way it had treated me. It's bad enough it had treated me that way, but then now I had to endure watching my children go through what I had, and I was not prepared to do. At least I was gonna fight. I wasn't gonna just take it. I mean, my kids had to know that dad was out here fighting for you. I mean, come on, man. I wasn't gonna just take
It's
it.
called braid. Grandma found it. I have it.
Facts, yeah, the difference between how it's done and just the overall intensity is the main difference.
That's the girl that I was trying to tell
Yeah,
you.
well, and I mean, again,
I got it.
as an example, I'm in a meeting, a football Manitoba meeting. This is when he was a heck of a good running back in the day, Adam level and so on and so. I mean, terrific feat. Big, couldn't be brought down, right? And think Christian Okoye, yeah, Kansas City Chiefs. Let's see how much of an old head you is, Eric. Christian Okoye, Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, get back at me. So, I'm in a meeting at Football Manitoba, right? And Ron Burley was there, as a matter of fact. And they're trying to explain some rule changes to me. And what it was that, you know, if you brought in an offensive player to punt the ball, if you brought, okay, on third down, if your punter had no option, they had to punt the ball. All right. They had no option to run fake punts or anything like that. They had to punt the ball. If you come in to punt the ball on third down, you had to punt the ball. And this is another reason why we're so far behind the American system, is that from the time we start playing at the grassroots level till we reach high school or even university level, we've learned this game. There's so many different rule changes from this level to that one, right? I got you. Not football, just NBA. Copy that. So there's so many rule changes from the Pop Warner level till when you even reach high school. In the States, one game, one set of rules. Everybody learn it the same way, and that the advantage to that is that, you know, you're not learning a new set of rules every 3 to 5 years, right? You're learning from jump how to play the game. So we're in the situation here now, and they're saying. I raised the question. I said, what if it's a bad snap? I mean, not intentional, but I mean, it happens, right? These are 8 to 12-year-old kids. Bad snap over his head. He's got to run back 10 yards. At that point, can he scoop it up and advance the ball? He said, no, at that point, he got to either just fall on it, pick it up, or and I'm like, this makes no sense. What rule is this? What game are we teaching? At this point, Burley says to me, I'll explain to you after. So I held my peace. We go out there, right? We go out after the meeting, and Burley says to me, he says, well, the thing is that rule was basically put in place because James Murphy, those of you who remember him, he was an outstanding wide receiver for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers back in the 80s, I think it was. He had a kid, right? And his kid was playing Pop Warner football and just lighting. Like, so instead, like, I'm of the opinion that one child, as a coach, one 8-year-old cannot beat me. I will outcoach an 8-year-old. I don't care. That is just my personal opinion, right? I will outcoach an 8-year-old. What it is at that level is that if you're fast, you just get the edge, right? So you just teach the kids to contain, force everything back up the middle, right? At least give yourself a chance. It's not rocket science, right? So these coaches now, instead of implementing better schemes and teaching their children better schemes on how to defend against the fake punt, and he was just going back, fake, touchdown, get outside, zip, up the sideline, touchdown. Instead of doing a better job of implementing better schemes, these parents thought that, okay, our children can't compete. We're just going to go ahead and change the rules to level the playing field.
Yeah.
They said Luka got EuroLeague MVP at 8. Let's have an honest conversation about Luka Doncic.
EuroLeague basketball kids going pro at age 14.
That's a fact.
Exactly.
And they're more skilled than their American counterpart.
And
what I mean by more skilled is not necessarily certainly not more athletic. Just their skill set, their basketball skill set. They're more polished. Their ability to play the game of basketball, their skill set. That is my one knock against LeBron James. His basketball skill set is not as high as I would like it to be for an elite level player. For instance, Kobe Bryant's basketball skill set was second to none. His skill set, his footwork, his LeBron James IQ, all those things. And he's been better this year of late, the last couple of years. However, he was a lot of years, he was just a one-trick pony. He just, he was bigger, stronger, faster than everybody else, and he just played bully ball. Right? Yes, he is fundamentally sound. However, his basketball skill set, there's nobody going to him to work on their drop step. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to him to get work on their footwork. The way guys went to Kobe to get work. You understand what I mean? That's all I'm saying, right? No axe to grind here. Luka. Now, I look at Luka. Luka is very fundamentally sound, and his basketball skill set is quite sublime. I mean, he's a very highly skilled player. What he lacks is, and that this Europeans have always lacked this, explosiveness and first step quickness. And I think that's where those that say that the game is rigged is that the rules have been massaged, if you would, to allow a player who is slower than molasses but has an outstanding skill set to dominate. He doesn't see as many double teams as he should. And you might say it's because he's an excellent passer. I would say that defenses in the league have changed. I watched it. I don't watch anymore, but I watched in the bubble. And what that allowed me to do was to observe what was going on the court product, lacking athleticism. Luka, 100%. Hey, CJ, thanks for stopping in, buddy. God bless you. What the bubble allowed me to do was to observe the on-the-court product without the distraction of the fans. Right? And just as an example, now I remember when I was watching Luka play in the bubble for the first time, he and Van Gundy, oddly enough, was the commentator. And this is how you skewer the perception of an athlete, okay? Now, the play was just a very simple play. It was a skip pass to Luka on the right corner, in the right sideline, right, from three, and he jumped up, he caught it, and it was no pressure on him whatsoever. He could have come down and shot the ball, but instead he made a semi-athletic play. He jumped up, caught the ball, one motion, skipped it to the opposite side of the basketball court for an open, uncontested three, and the player hit, right? Good basketball play, certainly nothing spectacular. I mean, it's not like he was falling out of bounds and one-handed it or he was under tremendous pressure. There was no pressure. He had all day. He could do whatever he chose to do. What I found interesting about the play was how the play was called. You would listen to Van Gundy, you would have thought that it was when Kawhi Leonard hit that three-pointer against Philly. You would have thought. And I mean, because the commentary went like that. Wow, did you see that pass? There aren't too many players in this league today that can make a pass like that. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, shoot, I'm not in the league. I could have made that pass. And that's not me being cocky or crazy. I'm just saying that's how unspectacular the pass was. Right? And it just lends itself to the idea that the uninitiated fan would see that, hear the commentary, be impressed enough to be convinced that that's a truism, when at best it was an average play. At best it was an average play. Right? The bubble really did a lot to the bubble did nothing to convince me of to disprove the conspiracy theories that the game itself is rigged. The bubble did nothing to disprove any of that. Because, for instance, Eric, you've seen this. You've seen the videos of when Kobe was a player, how defenses would shift to rotate especially when he was in LA with Fish in the lean years. They had no talent. It was just him and Fish. They had Vujacic, and right? And so defense, Kobe oftentimes was going 1 versus 5, and they would stop, freeze, and you would show how the defense would rotate as soon as the ball went into Kobe's hand because they didn't have to respect nobody else. Right? So now, fast forward, and we're in the bubble again, and I'm watching Tyler Hero and the Miami Heat play against the Boston Celtics, and I see Tyler Hero at the top of the key, and for whatever reason, Jason Tatum over pursues the play, and Hero crosses over, and he beats him at the 3-point line, and was able to get right to the rim for an uncontested layup against a very tough Boston defense. Where's the team defense? Where's the help? What's going on what's going on with defensive basketball? How is it that in a hotly contested game in the fourth quarter in the playoffs you're getting uncontested dunks at the rim? Eric, what's going on in the league? Our defense is just that poor now because players are more athletic than ever. So if anything, the product should be improving on both sides of the ball. And I cannot argue the fact that offenses has improved drastically. However, defenses, man, you see guys standing at the top of the key with hands on their hip, not at all engaged in the defensive end of the floor. I mean, defenses in playoffs games is looking like the all-star game in some instances. I noticed a lot of NBA players haven't been consistent since there's been barely any fans in the crowds. That's a part of it. Because yeah, absolutely you get that juice from the crowd. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe that's all what it is. However, when you look at the numbers across the board, scoring is up. Every team, every situation, scoring is up and defensive statistics are way down. People aren't even talking about Kawhi Leonard and Paul George no more about being the defensive stalwarts that they used to be. Because let's face it, guys, defense doesn't sell anymore.
Yeah, there's no more defense.
Nobody cares about defense no more, man. They want to see Harden get the triple-double, score 55 points, get 10 assists, and 15 rebounds. They want to see Steph hit half-court three-pointers. No, nobody care about defense and block shots. Nobody care about, what's his name there, that dude in Utah?
Rudy Gobert.
Don't nobody care about Rudy Gobert. Montrezl Harrell went to L.A., and didn't nobody care. Don't nobody care about big men and rebounds and defense and this and that. Nobody care about that no more. All people want to see is Steph hit the tree, Trae Young hit the three, Luka hit the three. Yeah, yes. All right, baby. You see this?
Cam's in here.
Cam.
Big Cam.
Cam?
Big Cam from
That's Cam.
Yeah.
Hey Cam, what's up, player? How you doing, man? Good to see you. God bless you. Thanks for stopping in. And you know,
Knicks the number one defense, giving up 105 points per game. Holy.
Right. And you want to tell me that's the best the league got to offer? 105 points a game? There is zero emphasis on defense no more. Facts. There's zero, and nobody care about defense, and it's fine because everybody just want to see, the over/under, right? The over/under. Let's get to 300 points, right? I mean, what was the score of the All-Star game there by the second quarter there? What was it, like 70?
Yeah.
How is that even entertaining? I'm an old head. However, there's a right and a wrong way to play the game. And you can't eliminate one aspect of the game and just load up on the other end and expect that your overall product is not going to suffer. I like seeing guys, take it personal. You know who I loved, Eric? The Glove. Gary Payton. Gary would come and sit down right in your jockstrap with you. The worst team is 100 points and 120 points a game. That was Michael MJ back in the day. That was MJ going off for like 60, 70 points, and 120. Now 120 is the regular. Now the Wizards give that up every night. I don't know. I mean, what? The Glove, he just sit down in that defensive stance and he'd be down there like a yogi and he'd dare you to try to dribble the ball. He just dare you. Dribble the ball. I dare you because I'm going to take it. Dribble it. I'm going to take it. And it didn't matter who you were. He knew you were going to take that ball and he played defense in your chest. But it was a different day and it was different type of athlete. And believe it or not, you're not going to like this, but I'm going to go out there and say it. Y'all idol, y'all hero is responsible for it. MJ changed the game, and not for the better. Not for the better. Because I stand behind this argument that Michael Jordan is a great player. Yes. The best in the league? Well, you can't quantify different general. What is your criteria when you say he's the best that ever played the game? Did he win the most championships? No. Did he score the most points? No. There's a lot of things that he didn't do. So what do you say? What is the criteria when you usually say that he's the best that ever played? Gary Payton was the only point guard in NBA history to get defense player of the game. Fact. There you go. And he called himself the Glove for a reason. He was a lockdown defender. But for him, it was more, and he'll tell you, I think his kid is a nice baller too. He'll tell you himself that it was more about attitude than athletic ability. It was more about his attitude. You know, but on the MJ tip, now let me get a little bit of a basketball history because I lived in that. I saw MJ play. I watched MJ play on TV, albeit, but I watched it. And I know the history of what was going on in the league at the time. The history of the league at the time was that the Bad Boy Pistons were just, they were still on the second end of their back-to-back championships, right? They were the show. I think Magic, if I remember correctly, had just come down with HIV. Larry Legend in Boston had the back issues and he was on the way out. Isaiah Thomas in Detroit, I think, had back issues as well as was on the way out. So what did you have left? You had MJ with, you still had some really, good that playground mentality GP had. Yeah, facts. You still had excellent talent in the league, of course. You still had Patrick Ewing. You had, what's his name there? Hang on. Hang on. That chick, Sandra Miller's brother?
Reggie Miller.
Oh, Reggie, yeah, Reggie. He's the second best player in his family. I mean, come on now. He was the second best. Reggie Miller, he made it to the NBA, but he was the second best player in his family. Cheryl Miller, that's her name. His sister Cheryl was a much better basketball player. Bigger, whatever. Cheryl and Reggie. Yeah, I took a shot at Reggie there. But you still had some excellent talent in the league. Charles Barkley, of course. However, Charles Barkley was no longer the round mound of rebound. You know what I mean? He went from being that man-child in Philly to being the more portly and
Phoenix, yeah.
Friendly,
I'm pretty sure
burger-friendly Phoenix.
MVP,
and he won his MVP and he never won a championship. But I mean, but that wasn't his best basketball. His best years were in Philadelphia. And you had the big guy in Indiana, Rick Smits, even though he was, he was a quality 7'4" guy. What do you do with a guy that size? You had Arvydas Sabonis in Portland, who was, Sabonis that's playing in Indiana now. That's his dad. You know what I mean? Portland had, Clyde Drexler. You know what I mean? There was still right? So there was still quality in the league. But what you were lacking, what you didn't have was you no longer had those dynamic matchups, because the league up to that point was defined by the matchups. Magic and Bird, Isaiah, Magic, Bird, you know what I mean? Going back to Bill Russell and Walt, these guys, Kareem and Wilt Chamberlain, matchups. So let me illustrate and prove my point. When MJ won his first Eastern Division championship, I believe it was against Mark Price and a very good Cleveland Cavalier team.
Larry Nance Sr.
Larry Nance, Cleveland Cavalier. His dad, he was a Skywalker, right? I mean, I'm a historian here, basketball historian. Larry Nance Sr. was a Skywalker. He was a dunk champion, right? They had Brad Daugherty on that team, right? And they had Mark Price was the point guard, and they had Ron Harper was on that team. When we were in Alberta, we were talking about that because it was a throwback game on the TV.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I
just remember that. Yeah. Ron Harper was on that team, but for whatever reason,
he didn't guard MJ,
He didn't guard MJ. Eric, basketball trivia. Who did MJ hit that shot over to win that game? It's a famous shot. You see it every time. He's moving left to right. Floater at the foul line. He hangs. The defender goes by. The defender can't stay up as long as he This defender can't stay up as long as he does. The defender goes away. MJ hits the shot. They win the championship against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He advances out of the Eastern. He advances to NBA Finals for the first time. Who did he hit that shot over? I'll wait.
Shelby. What's up, Shelby?
Hey, Shelby. How you doing? God bless you. Thanks for stopping in. Who'd he hit that shot over? And this is just to illustrate the point of the lack of quality.
Craig Elo, he knew it.
Hey! You win the prize, dog. You win a prize. Wow. Much respect.
Craig Elo. Yeah, see, most people wouldn't know that.
Most people wouldn't even know who Craig Elo was. Most people don't have a clue. And, in all fairness, he was
a good player.
He was in the NBA. He was all right. He wasn't bad. However, Ron Harper should have been guarding MJ that day, and that's just what that was.
And I remember in the Last Dance documentary, too, Ron Harper's talking about it, and he goes up to the coach, and he's like, I got MJ. And the coach is like, no, we're gonna put Craig Elo. And Ron Harper's like, the fuck? fuck? He's like, I'm done, man.
So now that's just one example. So now, let's look at when MJ, the second most famous shot of his career, was he hits it against the Utah Jazz, and that's a great shot. I still maintain it was a push off. I'm sorry, I know you guys are gonna be upset. It was a push off. He went right to left, his left hand on the right hip. He moved the defender and he crossed over. It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm not bitter. I just call it the way I see it. I have no axe to grind. It was a push off. And then whatever. It wasn't even a push-off. Whatever. And then why was his hand on his hip? If it wasn't a push off, why was his hand on his hip? His hand shouldn't be on the defender's hip. He going by him, huh? Okay.
He was crossing over. Everyone does that.
It's fine. I'm not emotional. It's fine. However, so now he hits that shot. And he hits that shot against who is actually a pretty good, at the time, all-NBA defender. Brian Russell's a pretty good defender. Right? He's a pretty good defender. Is he elite when you look at the defenders in the league? No, he's not elite. But for the time, at that era, he's a pretty good defender.
That's the only reason he was starting was because he could play.
Because defense. He could defend against, right? And now let's look at when he played the Knicks. The Knicks had John, I'll shoot us into the game and I'll shoot us right back out of it against Starks. John Starks guarding MJ. And John Starks is legitimately Byron Russell, John Starks is legitimately an all-NBA defender. In any era. However, unfortunately, he would have to take a rest from time to time, and then you would bring in Shannon Anderson, who oddly enough was in Utah as well. So Shannon had experience with MJ both in New York and Utah. But the point is this: Derek Harper was a good defender too, all-world defender. So why was D Harp not on MJ instead of Craig Elo? Things that make you go, Okay, so the point is this. We're looking at MJ's career now. We're looking at, when you look at who, there were great, like Patrick Ewing, great bigs in the league at the time. But bigs can't guard MJ. Bigs were essentially just help defense, and MJ made bigs look bad. We know that. Whether he was dunking on them, going around them, we know that. Bigs were irrelevant to him. It was a different day. And so, but you had, and then when you played his buddy, Barkley, they didn't guard each other. So my question to you is this: who did Michael build his reputation on beating? For you to say he's the best. You look at the different rivalries, everybody. I mean, you take Michael in today's game is still a superstar. Hands down. Michael in today's game, in my humble opinion, does not dominate the league the way he did in the 80s. He just doesn't. Is he still going to be winning scoring titles and Sure, absolutely is. He's that indomitable will. He's going to find a way to do him. He's going to find a way to get his. He does not dominate the league the way he did back then. The league has it's evolution. The athletes are bigger, faster, stronger.
He could barely shoot until like how many years into the league?
Until he had to, when he could no longer jump over people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? He had to develop a jump shot. That's usually how it goes, because you have to expand your game, because look at Grandmama. Larry Johnson out of UNLV, Skywalker, right? Grandmama, he became a better all-around player when he had the back issues. He became a better all-around player because he took his game down to the block into the low post, and then he extended because he couldn't skywalk anymore, so he became a more complete player.
So Pistons had MJ's number early in his career for sure.
Well, because they just beat him up because they were allowed to.
Beat him up. And the Knicks too.
They just beat him up. That's all they did. They would clothesline him. I seen the games, man. I felt bad for him, but that's what basketball was back then. Straight up, who you didn't play with? You didn't play with the New York Knicks. And the one guy on the Knicks, you want to talk about Charles Oakley? Oakley was always getting into a fight. The one guy who never got into a fight on the Knicks, and that said a lot about his toughness? Anthony Mason. That dude never fought. Nobody was crazy enough to mess with him. With his bald head, no blood, no foul. Facts. Anthony Mason never had no issues on the basketball court. And I imagine that there was probably a pretty good reason for that because people just knew not to mess with him. Oakley, as tough as he was fighting just about every game. Bill Laimbeer, oh my God, there wasn't a dirtier player in the history of the game than Bill Laimbeer. Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about him no more. But my guy, my personal guy, for my money, Kurt Rambis. You want to talk tough guys? Kurt Rambis with his glasses, because I'm a Lakers guy, right? Kurt Rambis, yeah, with his glasses and the tape on the side of his glasses, looking like one of the Hanson twins, playing basketball instead of hockey.
With short shorts on, too.
With short shorts.
Back then.
And the funny thing was, as silly as, and because he kind of had this silly kind of look to him back then, and now as a coach, he's very sophisticated. He's got new glasses, yeah, it's, but yeah, I actually got a kick out of watching him play because he was a dog. I could identify with him. He was a dog, and he got every loose ball. He got every rebound that mattered. He took every hard foul. He took every charge. After every game, he had a bloody mouth. Vernon Maxwell wasn't. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Yes. These guys were just, it was a different day back then. You see these players today, right? And you look like Trey Young, for instance.
You get beat up. You get beat up.
I see who was it? The Joker. I see the Joker swell up on some guys because he's a big 7-footer. You got to respect the fact that he's a big guy. But these guys would have had to hold. The best play I ever saw was when Shaq dunked on Bradley from the Knicks. Number 44, Bradley, and I don't know why he didn't just get out the way. But Shaq can be ignorant because he got all of that up in his face, and then when he come down, he pushed the guy too, right, to make matters worse. And then Bradley took the ball and threw it at him, and it was just hilarious to me, right? Yeah, I like bigs, right? Go big, go.
No, I'm talking. Just to go on with that, when Steve Kerr and MJ got into it, in practice one time, MJ straight up punched him in the face, right? Because Steve Kerr said something he didn't like,
That's like okay. I feel like he crossed the line there. That's like punching that kid at school that everybody likes. He's a little bit annoying and he says all the wrong things, but you can't beat him up because you just can't. Because everybody will hate you if you do, right? I feel punching Steve Kerr in the face for any reason, it's kind of like beating up the nicest kid at school. You just shouldn't do that.
And he was just sticking up for himself too, MJ
what's worse?
And Steve Kerr was like, "No, man, I'm sticking up for myself."
Right? You're not gonna bully me today, MJ. Yes, I am, Steve. Know your place, Steve. Know your place. You know who I am? I'm MJ. Okay, Eric, toughest guy in the history of the game. Quick, fast. Toughest guy for your money. Toughest guy in the enforcer. Toughest enforcer. Anybody. Sound off. Toughest enforcer.
Damn, what's up, Andre? How's it going, man? Long time no see.
Dre?
Yeah, Andre
Mars?
from Sisler. No, Andre from Sisler. The guy I played with, he's a year younger than me. You like him, man, because he plays defense.
Dre. Hey, what's up, son? How you doing?
Who was guarding James Wagner that day at Maples.
Okay. I'm gonna act like I remember that.
The shooter, man. He's a shooter, but he played really good defense. Andre is a wild.
What's his ethnicity?
He's Filipino.
Okay, then I know who that is. Why didn't you just say that?
Yeah.
Okay, what's up, player? Good to see you. God bless you, man. Thanks for passing through. We appreciate you. Go, Eric. Enforcer. Anybody? Enforcer. Number one enforcer in NBA history. Who was yours?
Mine. One of the favorite top time players, Dennis Rodman.
D-Rod. Oh, man, you went there already? Really? D-Rod?
Yeah,
okay, so we got...
I'm putting my money on Ron Artest. That's a good...
Notice he said Ron Artest and not Meta World Peace. Two completely different players.
For sure.
Okay,
That's
Eric.
a good one, though.
No, because I'm gonna have to call Ron out off the hap. Because Ron had an opportunity to go toe-to-toe with Big Ben in that fight, in that game, and he backed down.
Yeah.
He backed down. Big Ben came for him, and he backed off. Ben Wallace, Ben came for him.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to fight Ben Wallace.
What? I'm just saying. He said Ron Artest. I gotta tell you, Ron Artest in the game that he's known for being the most physical, that game where he actually fought, in that game, he actually could have fought the other team's number one guy. Yeah. And he backed down.
For sure.
He backed
was
down.
Just walking away.
And that's when he went and laid down on the table. And that's when the fan, and that's what precipitated. But now he's ready to fight. Because there's a skinny white dude up in the. Now I'm ready to fight. A second ago when Big Ben was like, let's do this. I'm not time. I gotta go lie down. Let me go lie down. So I don't know, player. I don't know. Ron is kind of suspect for that reason alone. Ron is kind of suspect. You said that's my guy. Dennis Rodman is my guy. Dennis Rodman is the only guy that I saw that he took his forearm, and put in the back of Shaquille O'Neal like this in the middle of the key, 1 foot away from the basket, and Shaq couldn't do nothing. He owned Shaq. Dennis owned Shaq. He was actually the only guy that I saw that was stronger than Shaq, and that is my live life experience. That's what I saw.
It's just like crazy. Like I that clip of him, like he tips the ball about 7 times
to
in
himself.
a row, and he just tipping it, and he finally goes up and grabs it. Yeah, like it's crazy. It's so interesting. Any loose ball, like
it's so interesting that a rebound is called a Barkley instead of a Rodman. It's so interesting that they call it a Barkley instead of a Rodman, because Dennis Rodman is the most prolific rebounder the game has ever seen. The guy was only 6'8". Yeah, and he just wanted the ball more than anybody else. So so for me, you know what, man, I was gonna say Bill Laimbeer. As dirty as that guy was, as dirty, I hated that guy, but he was as tough as nails. I wanted to see that guy get knocked out so many, but nobody could do it. And he talked to everybody, but nobody could do it. Go.
Who was his homie there in the Pistons with him there? The other black guy.
The other guy, Mark Aguirre. The two enforcers. They're like thing 1 and thing 2. These guys would just goon people. There's another. Shoot. Eric, help us out. That team, that Detroit Piston, they were named the Bad Boys for a reason. Yeah. And it was Smiling Joe Dumars. It was Isaiah Thomas. It was Bill Laimbeer. Who was the other enforcers? I mean, Vinny came off the bench. We talked about that the other day. There was another couple enforcers on that team, though. Oakley was with that team. Rodman was with that team for a minute, but this is going back before Dennis Rodman. Who was it? Aguirre was on that.
Rick Mahorn. Rick Mahorn. Yeah. Oh yeah, he just said it too.
Mahorn. That's it.
Rick Mahorn.
Yeah. That was that guy. Yeah. You call him. You know what his nickname was? He was the Jordan Stopper. I remember Jordan rookie year. Jordan thought he was going to dunk on it, and I'm sitting at home, and I know something about the pop off because it's Jordan. He trying to dunk on everybody, but this is Rick and this is Detroit. And I saw Jordan elevate from the top of the key, and I saw Rick didn't even react. He just stood there. He just stood there sharpening his axe. He just waited for him. He said, "You gotta get to me sooner or later. I ain't gonna go to him." And he hit him with a rotted clothesline.
That was the rule, man. You couldn't allow Jordan to go to him and not knock him down. Like the coach literally told him, you have to knock him down. Make sure he falls on his ass.
That documentary we were watching,
Jordan
right?
Rules,
the Jordan Rules docket when Isaiah and Joe, Smiling Joe do. I mean, Isaiah and Laimbeer took all the heat for Mahorn once. Okay. They took all the heat for being the bad guys on the team. And everybody thought that Joe was the nicest guy. But Smiling Joe Do was, that's your shout out from
me. That's Jay. What's up, Jay? What's going on, dog?
Hey, what's going on, player? Thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for the love.
We appreciate what we're talking about right now, too.
So who we on here?
Rick Mahorn.
But he said, Eric said that Isaiah swung on Mahorn once. I think I remember that. Jordan's the best. Okay, let me ask you this question. When you say he's the greatest of all time, what criteria you use him to qualify that statement? Did he win the most championships? Did he score the most points? Was he the best at making those the most out of the least? Because when you look at Jordan's team, that Bulls team, that Chicago Bulls team, is one of the best teams that was ever assembled in the history of the NBA, right? I mean, you have to look at the fact that he never won a championship. He never had to win a championship without Scottie Pippen.
They couldn't even make.
No, go. Yeah, we'll give you your airtime, bro. We'll give you your airtime. And I mean, if you take Scottie Pippen out of that situation where he has to be Batman to MJ's, or he has to be Robin to MJ's Batman, Scottie Pippen could very well have been Batman himself, right? Or you know what I mean? Or at the very least, a Flash or a Green Lantern, right? However, you know, nobody plays ball like Jordan. He was Magic. However, I believe that Magic was better at getting more out of the players around him than Jordan was. And I say that because, and I will illustrate, I'll use one example to illustrate that point. There's a game, Pippen.
No, you're right. He couldn't win without Pippen. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying he couldn't win without Pippen. I didn't say that. What I'm saying is he didn't have to. We didn't have to find out.
Yeah.
Right? Because he had that luxury.
But he's like 1-9 without Scottie Pippen in a playoff.
Right.
So.
But however, I mean, that just means that another Robin would have stepped up to his Batman.
Jordan had the most global impact on the game, of course. Yeah.
That's why I say that when you qualify that statement, what are you saying that he's the best? Why? Jordan had the most global impact, and I would respectfully suggest that at a time when basketball was not king, basketball was on the way out. As I said, Magic Johnson had HIV, Larry had the back problems. The Detroit basketball had a black eye because of the reputation of the Pistons bad boys. The John public fan didn't really identify and associate with the Detroit Pistons bad boys. We were losing fans. We lost all our biggest talent, our most dynamic draw over the last 10 years. The most dynamic draw over that last decade was Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. The Lakers playing against the Boston Celtics. You know, the two most storied franchises in the history of the game lose their top players, and all we're left with are the Detroit Pistons. Basketball needed a savior. Basketball needed a savior. And Michael Jordan was the recipient. He was the beneficiary of that. Was he a next level, next generational talent? Absolutely.
Okay, he might be the best player ever, maybe, but he's the biggest star.
Some of it,
In today's game, no. There's a lot of people alive today that don't even know who he is.
Michael Jordan? Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If you don't
guys, come on, guys.
Is.
I mean, you got to realize that there's kids being born every day that don't know life without wearing a mask. What are you trying to tell me?
Yeah. But I
don't think you come on, guys. We live in a different world.
To call yourself a
we live in a different world.
Anything if you don't know
Listen,
who Michael
man,
Jordan
kids
is.
nowadays don't even watch NBA games. They watch basketball 2-minute YouTube clips at a time.
It was all sold out.
Right? I asked these kids. Yes, that's a fact. Yeah, really, there are kids. I believe that there are kids today that don't know who. Listen, I'm driving in at the top of the compound here. This little dude is shooting in his basketball, and then he hits a three. I'm like, oh, Larry for the three, and he look at me with a blank look. And obviously, Larry Bird is not Michael Jordan. However, had I said Luka for the three, the kid would have lit up. Had I said Luka for the three, the kid would have lit up. Had I said Kobe for the three, he might have recognized Kobe. Had I said Steph for the three, there's not a lot of, aside from the Jumpman brand of basketball shoes and old heads like us sitting around reminiscing about the good old days.
It'll eventually go.
Michael ain't hit no more players. I'm sorry, Michael.
People think Charles Barkley is a commentator.
Right? People don't even know that Barkley played ball. Wow. If you look at Kenny the Jet Smith, would you think with them rickety knees, him running up the, would you think that he's one of the most prolific point guards to ever play the game?
Oh yeah, there's Steph's.
It says Steph, kids only praising Steph. Now. Exactly. I love Kobe. I know you do, player. You know, but the league has moved on. The league has moved on. The same way, I mean, did you ever think that people would get over Kobe's death? They were acting like a minute there. They were acting like they'd never get over it. When the last time you heard anybody talk about it? Life goes on. It always does. It has to. It's the nature of humanity. Life always goes on. And no matter how big, there's this poem I remember in school. I am Ozymandias. Look at all I behold and tremble, and it's all that's left is his feet. We're about to cut out on IG, so we got to wrap it up. We're already at an hour. This has been fun, guys. We appreciate you so much. God bless.
The video's ending, guys. Sorry.
The video's ending. We'll do this again.
I like Big Noah. Hey, if you guys wanted to come over to Facebook, I don't know, unless we're closing it all, but
you know what? If you guys want to jump on Facebook, we'll keep it going on Facebook, even YouTube. Let's follow the link on Instagram.
And right
follow
now.
the link.
No. Why does it do that?
Because Instagram.
You can only go for an
They
hour?
only give you an hour.
Damn.
They only give you an hour.
That's too bad. We had the fans engaged or the people engaged.
Yeah, we were rocking it out, right? Mm-hmm. It's good times. Good times had by all. We'll see. We'll hang out here for a second. We'll see if anybody jumps over from that room, that chat, into this one. If not, we'll just close off another episode of Basketball Diaries. And you see that your fans are out here, man. They want to hear what you got to say. So, make sure you don't be a stranger and, keep it coming through. Mm-hmm. All right, man. I'm guessing that's it for us. That's another episode of Basketball Diaries. We'll see you again next time. God bless.